Hi, this is Lori, and welcome to my series on adventures in soldering. We're up to episode 14, and in this episode, we're going to be soldering a musical type kit. It's shaped like a piano, and we can play notes with it, and we can also do a lot of other kinds of sounds. Let's see what this kit is about. Even though I'm on episode 14, I'm not an expert at soldering, so I like to remind everyone that I'm experimenting, trying to learn the best ways to do soldering with my own skill set and tools. So if I can't be a good example, I'll just have to be a horrible warning. Well, here's a picture of the kit that I ordered off of Amazon. Runs about 15 bucks. And you can see it's shaped like a piano, and I certainly didn't pick this kit because it was had a lot of interesting things to solder. In fact, it's mostly soldering a bunch of button switches. I picked it because I thought the musical part of it would be cool, and I was interested in that. And I'm going to be showing off my new soldering station, and so this was the first kit that I used. With that soldering station, and so it didn't really matter what I was soldering, so that's why I picked this one up. So you can see it has a PCB here where all the switches go. Part of it is sort of a piano here, so here's the notes that we can play, and then these other buttons are different sounds we can make. So you can change the tone of the piano, make it sound like a guitar, like a music box, things like that. It also has some percussion type sounds, so snare drums, that kind of thing. And then you can record yourself playing things, and it has some pre-recorded music built in as well. So that's what all these buttons are for. And then we'll also solder on the leads to a battery case here and a little speaker. And here's just a picture of what it should look like when we get done. You can see it has some standoffs to kind of support it up. And here's all the button switches put on, and you can more clearly see the little keys where we can play the notes and so forth. So that's what we should have when we get this done. So let's get going. This might be one of my shortest soldering videos, because I'm not going to show you soldering a million of these button switches, but I'll show you how I'm thinking about tackling it. First off, I have my new soldering iron here that I showed off in a mail bag. It interestingly enough, it's a Heiko, but it does the temperature in Fahrenheit. Maybe that's because it was sold in the U.S. I don't know. So then I had to kind of convert my thinking. So I have it at about 660 Fahrenheit, which I think is around, I'm pretty sure it's close to 350 or so in Celsius, which is where I was running my other iron. 350 to 400 sometimes, depending on what I was doing. And then I pulled up my Make Your Uno Kit keychain, because I never filled in all the rest of the holes. And so I went back in and I filled up, I had only done the heart, and I went back and filled them in. And I think my technique's probably a little bit better as I went. And I reflowed some of these and made nice little bumps on the back. It seemed like I had a lot more control with this iron. Things melted really nicely and smoothly. So back to our piano. I decided I'm going to work first on the keyboard part of it, and then I'll come back and I might work by row. The switches sort of stay in when you flip it around. I'm going to flip it the other way because this is an unusual shape. But I think I'm going to put some of my tape on here once I get the last one in. So you can see I have a whole bunch of the switches down here. So we'll just put them in. There's only one way they'll fit into the long way and get it in there. So they're all in. And then I'll use some of this high temperature tape, and I'm going to tape it. I'll come back and show you that, and show you soldering a few of the switches. And then we'll come back and we'll solder in our battery and our speaker. Okay, I taped them it's not holding it super well, so I'm not going to rely on the tape entirely, but I guess it's going to keep it from falling out when I go ahead and flip it over here. I keep going the wrong direction. There we go. It's an unusual shape. It won't rotate both directions. Alright, so that looks pretty good. And I think I'll solder one and make sure it's flush before I move on to the next one, because I don't want to get any cockeyed switches on this. I want it to be nice and flush the whole way. So let's turn on our smoke absorber. And make sure our tip is good and tinned a little bit. That looks great. And I'm just going to reach under here and make sure that switches all the way in. And it looks like it is. Let's just pick up one of these and throw some solder on it. And see how that looks. I'm going to flip it around and make sure it's flush, which it's a little cockeyed, so I'm going to reach around here, which is probably not going to be easy to see. And make sure my fingers aren't near it, and flow it just a little. And make sure it's down. And let go. Yeah, I guess that's about as good as it's going to get. Yeah, I'm still not 100% happy with how it's sitting. But I guess it's alright. Alright, then we'll just finish these up. Oh, I didn't get that on very good. I'm getting used to this different little mini chisel chip here. I've been using a pretty pointy one. And I got a lot of comments from folks that they use chisel chips, and I had used a chisel chip at the start of my soldering adventures. And then I thought I would try the more pointy tip, but I figured this is the one that this one came with. I'd give it a go. Yeah, that went pretty smoothly. You can kind of see it's pretty nice. I think it's all right. Alright, well, I'm going to work my way across here and come back when I have this row done. Okay, I got it all soldered. Let's take this tape off. And I just was really careful, because I found if I go too fast, I you know, potentially get something in cockeyed. So I think you can see that they're all pretty level, except for this one, and I just couldn't get it to go in anymore. But it's mostly level and nicely in. So next up I'll tackle these. Alright, I've got the next row taped, and we'll do a little, I'll solder this on the camera, but I'll speed it up as I go. I'll do a couple here. I keep flipping this the wrong way. I'll move that back just a little bit. There we go. I guess I'm going to kind of check to make sure it's all even. They seem to stay in okay. I probably didn't need the tape, but it's just peace of mind, I guess. And getting used to my new soldering iron here. So we'll heat up one leg. I didn't get that down very good. Let me try again. Put it up high on the tip rather than down on the surface. There we go. Okay. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Now I'm going to just check and make sure it's still nice and flat. It is. And so then I just go in and pick up the next part of them. There we go. And this leg. last leg here. Alright, looks good, and it came flush, so I'm pretty happy with that. Alright, now for some soldering really fast. Alright, let's take a look at that. See if I missed any. There's a lot of these to go, so I brought off some of the button. There we go. Take that off. Take that off. I think I got them pretty flush. I think they look pretty reasonable. Let's tape my fingers there. Yeah, that looks pretty nice. And the bottoms are looking good. I think I'm getting about the right amount of solder on them. And I'm blowing it through a little bit more than I used to. I'm being a little more patient. You know, give it just another second as I take the iron off. It wasn't something I was doing when I first started soldering. I didn't kind of pick up on that when I watched other people do it, and just I think until you just start doing it and watching yourself, then you realize, oh, I'm not pausing like a lot of people do. You know, after they finish feeding in the solder, they pause for just a brief second or two to let the solder kind of flow into the hole and get those things on really good. All right, well, got one more row to do and then we're done. Okay, we got another set in. Just carefully got them all flat. Back this up a little bit. There we go. It's an awkward PCB to work with. Maybe I'll move these over so they're centered. And we'll speed solder some of these. Alright, I got the last set here ready to go. Slide things over a little bit. And I think they're all good and flat. In there. Let me get this set done. And I had a couple extra switches. I guess for if we made a mistake. And almost done with this roll of solder. Okay, time for some speed soldering. I think that's all of them. They are all soldered on now. Take the last that off. There we go. And yeah. Okay. Next up is the power and the speaker. Get them on. I'm pretty happy with that. Okay. Time to put the speaker on. So it'll go here like this. And then we'll put some little screws and a nut. Get these on. Hold it in place here. And then we have to solder the connection here. So we got a couple little wires to solder that. There we go. Next one through. Solder that. Get that on. Not solder. Get that on. Alright, the last one. I've been looking at this IC. I looked up the numbers, trying to find a data sheet or something for it. And I was somewhat unsuccessful. Well, I was unsuccessful. Not somewhat. I was unsuccessful. So clearly there's going to be some kind of a program in there. So I'm not really sure what kind of chip it is. And, you know, obviously, yeah, obviously it's going to control all this. And from looking at the instructions, it sounds like it's going to be fairly sophisticated. So I was actually kind of curious what that chip was, and you know, I'd be curious to know what the programming in it was. But anyways, I guess maybe I'll keep looking. All right, so we got these pre-done wires here, and I guess we'll it almost looks like that's pre-tinned right there. I might put a little bit more on there, but I'll see whether that's already been kind of tinned with some. I'll tin these a little bit and maybe put a little flux on there as well. So let me get that set up, and then we'll solder that in place. Okay, I got things together. I'm using my helping hands and one of my little arms here to hold the little teeny piece of wire here. This is the other one, and so it's got it right on the pad. And I first thought this, where it looked like it was pre-tinned, I don't think that's where I'm supposed to connect it into. I looked at this. I'm supposed to put it on those edges there, and then put it here. So I'll do one and see how it goes here. I also decided with wire I was going to put a little more some flux on here, so I have a little flux pen. So I put some of that on there, try to get everything going in my direction here. And I've got that right on the copper pad now. So let's see how it goes. That's a little. Hold on to it. I think that's pretty good. I might have touched a little too much the other one. Hopefully that's good enough. Alright, let me get set up for the next one. I got the second one set up. I'm gonna kind of keep it over here, this side, away from that spot. Well, it's a little tricky, isn't it? Get that centered a little bit better there. There we go. Okay, just put a little bit on here. Well, I might have overdone that, but I think it's on pretty good. Alright, now we got to get the other ends. Okay, I put a little bit of solder on the pads for the speaker. I've got my little tweezers here to hold on to it. And I'm hoping that I can just kind of get these down and hold it while it dries. Let's see if that's going to be easy to do or not easy to do. Kind of got cockeyed a little bit. Alright, let's see. Like that. And just try to, I'm not even going to turn on the smoke absorber. Just going to see if I can loosen this up and then let it go. Oh, I think that worked. Wow. Alright, kind of had that just a little bit of an angle there. No. Never hold on to that while you're trying to manipulate other things. That is a surefire way to end up messing something up. Alright, let's try that again. See if we can melt that. And let it go. Well, I hope I got that. I think it's in. I got the battery box. It's gonna go, well, it's gonna go here and mount, but we have to connect it to the pad underneath, and it gives us plenty of wire. It says to cut it down. Now, they cut it down a lot more than I'm going to because I'm a little nervous about I mess stuff up with wires all the time. So I've got my little wire snippers here. And stripper, I should say wire strippers. I'm going to cut some off. And this is a really small wire. I think it's probably around 30 gauge-ish. So we'll strip it. And we'll strip the other side as well. There we go. And you know, it's the typical wire that's always hard to get to, you know, you gotta kind of twist it to get it to not just be a fray of little bitty copper wires. And I swear I'm no good at that. I don't know whether there's some secret to doing it, but I almost never do it very well. Alright, we'll probably tin those up a little bit. I'm going to put a little solder on the pads and try to do the same sort of thing we did with the speaker. Alright, I guess I'll turn on my thing. I'm going to put a little solder right on the pad here. Get it tinned up. Okay, got some on there, and now I'm going to get set up to connect these in. Yeah, I think I'm ready. I'll just try to do what we did last time, kind of sort of touch this to it and hopefully get the wire right in there. are wiggly. I got it on. It didn't melt very well though. I like how it melted. I put a little bit more on it. There. Yeah, that looks better. I'll trim that little bit off. Alright, let's try to do the other one. Push it on here. Yeah. I'm just having a hard time getting that heated up. There it goes. There. Alright, we're going to do what we did. Add a little bit more to the top. Yeah, that looks good. Alright. Alright, we got it connected. And just says to kind of tuck them underneath. And then mount the... Well, it's easier said than done, I guess. And that's because I probably left too much behind, but... There we go, we got them underneath. And... well, let's just check and see how it wanted us to mount this on. Yeah, so we got to go this way with the battery box. Otherwise, our batteries won't. It's kind of a shame because now you have this kind of ugly-looking bolt on the other side, but I guess it is what it is. And I'm not going to over tighten this because we got those wires underneath, so we don't want to crunch them somehow. So just a little. All right. Not getting that in. All right, what am I doing? It's like half in. Line it up a little bit better. And then, oh, I'm all fumbles when it comes to hardware, I swear. Okay, let's just see if we can't kind of screw that through. There we go. And put our little bolt on, little nut on the other side of the bolt here. So I don't want to over tighten this because I don't want to puncture the wire on some of those sharp little legs of the switch that are the battery box is kind of underneath. In fact, I may take this off just a little bit. Make sure it will go to. Okay. And last is just to put the little legs on, so we might as well do that real quickly. Usually show all this, but so just pop that through and then just turn these on. Simple way to do it. The bolts are over here. Pop another one on. Put that one on here. Okay. It's kind of exciting. I really hope this works. Some of the comments on I somewhere have lost the bolt. Ah, there it went, down in that little hole. I saw some of the comments on Amazon for this kit. Several people had trouble getting it to work, so I really didn't look at the comments when I picked it up. I just I just got it and I noticed it was a brand that I had tried before. Oh, that looks fun. All right, let me get some batteries and we'll try it out. Okay, I've got the batteries are in, and I've been messing around a little bit with it. It does quite a bit. It's actually kind of fascinating to play with, but in its most basic use, I guess, would be just to play the notes. So I think you can choose the different sounds up here on the top row. So that's the piano sound. So I can increase the volume a little bit. Oh, who knows? Let's try music box. All right. Guitar. You just feel like you have to go all the way up to the top, right? And then there's some percussion sounds. And then a little percussion jingle, I guess, or whatever you want to call it, that you can play. Then it has some pre-recorded music, so let's put it back in piano, and then let's. And if you had enough, you press stop. You can actually record yourself playing something. So let me pull up something on the screen here that we can play. Maybe you guys will recognize it. Yeah, so we'll make sure it's in piano. And I'm going to record, so I'll press the record button. And then I can press the replay button. And we can hear my really bad rendition of Ode to Joy. Sorry, Beethoven. Wow. Well, that's I'm sure there's more I can do with it, but that's a ton of fun. And wow, I want to thank you for joining me on my adventures in soldering. And as always, thank you for watching.